going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, or should I say I'm back. It's been quite a while since I've gotten anything uploaded. That's enough about me. Let's talk about the Coupe. So I've been working on the car pretty regularly for a couple months. I had removed the entire rear suspension of the car, the entire subframe. I stripped everything, recoated it with a rust inhibitor, and then followed that up with a chassis paint. So once I was done with that, I was ready to put in all the new parts. I picked up some solid bushing trailer arms, some aluminum lower control arms, Megan toe arms, Moog upper control arms, and I also threw in an Acura CL 97 Acura CL sway bar. It's an exact match for our cars. It's about 2 millimeters thicker, and installed new bearing and hub assemblies. Now during that whole process, I also rebuilt the rear calipers and installed some stainless steel brake lines. I will have a tutorial coming up on how to rebuild the EX screw type rear calipers. They were terrible, they had to be done. I was having some overheating issues with the front end, and the rear end, it was obvious they really weren't engaging if you look at the pad material or the rotors. Now, after I finished up the rear end, I moved up front. I did the same thing. I removed everything out, stripped it, recoated it with a rust inhibitor and a chassis paint. I installed Moog lower ball joints, SPC upper ball joints, and energy suspension bushings throughout, minus the lower shock mount, which I'll get to that later. Now I have the 25T calipers for the big brake conversion, and I went with specifically a 97 Acura CL rotor. The reason being, they're the same size, I think 290 millimeters across and 25 millimeters thick. The only difference between the 97 and the other 2 years of that gen is its hub over rotor. Why would I do a hub over rotor? I've already got everything apart. Well, I had already bought those bearing and hub assemblies. They've only been on the car a couple thousand miles. Plus, later on I do want to do a 5-lug conversion, but I can't right now because I'm stuck with these Watanabe's until I can afford wheels. So I decided to just go ahead and keep the hub over rotor. Plus, it's really not difficult to remove them. They're working much better. The cooling is awesome. Braking, much improved. Now once all that was done, the only thing left was that I was getting rid of the old Coney Red suspension kit that came with Coney Reds and Vauquelin springs. Now this was new old stock that I picked up out of some warehouse in New York. I probably only put about 2,000 miles on them, and a buddy of mine here local in Dallas picked them up from me, and he's making good use of them. So after that, I was on the hunt for a full set of Coney Yellows, and that took about a month to track them down because they quit making them in 2019 for the CB7 for our chassis. So I think it was 3 different retailers that I had to pick them up from. Once I got those secured, I was ready to contact ground control, and I picked up a set of coilovers with the sleeve specific for the Coney Yellows. I'm running a 440 spring on the front and a 350 spring on the rear. So now after all of that, everything underneath the car is brand new, and what's that like? It's amazing. I can't tell you what experience is like of having it be all old and 30 years old, doing it all at once over a 2-month period, and then going out and driving the car. It's amazing. So once that whole process was done, I took the car out to Van Alstyne to get some exhaust work done. The car was deafening to drive in. The rasp was horrible and just was not happy with the sound of the exhaust. I picked up a 22-inch Yonaka resonator and took that out there, had that welded in, and had some adjustments made on the muffler. Drove it home, and it was a big improvement. It definitely got rid of a lot of the rasp, and the drone on the highway was not to the point where I would get out of the car and my ears were ringing anymore. So that's good. But I really felt that it could still be better, and on a whim, a week later, on that next weekend, I decided to pull the whole interior out of the car and install new sound deadening. I did remove all of the old deadening. Now the results after that were very significant between the resonator and the sound deadening. I'm very happy with where the car is at now. I would highly recommend it, especially on these 30-year-old cars. It's just a big improvement, especially if you're running a louder aftermarket exhaust. It's much nicer to drive the car now. Well, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get something up to let everybody know what was going on, that things are still happening with the Coupe and will continue to be. I want to let everybody know I really appreciate the support. You can expect a lot more content from me going forward, and you can expect it to be dedicated to the CB7, you know, to this chassis, how to do these things. Because really it's about people doing this that inspired me. It's everybody that took the time to share their knowledge, to start a YouTube channel, to post about it. And I just want to give that back. I love this community, and I love being a part of it and contributing to it. So everybody stay safe out there, stay tuned, and I'll see you real soon. Happy New Year.